Hey everyone, Josh here, and today I want to do a video about something other than toys. For those of you who follow the official Star Wars Twitter feed, last week they tweeted out something that I thought was pretty interesting and that I had a relatable story to. And what that was coming off the official Star Wars Twitter feed was a tweet that said, "It is the question every parent must face. When and how should you introduce your children to Star Wars?" And the way my child was introduced to Star Wars was terrifying for him. And the way it happened was I was home one weekend and I was down in my man cave watching my big screen, and I'm of course watching Star Wars movies. And I was watching Attack of the Clones, and I was at the part of the movie where they're on Geonosis and they're in the big arena and they're getting ready to try and execute the Jedi. And if you're familiar with that scene, of course you remember they introduced 3 large monsters into the arena, and each of them has a little introduction scene. And the monster that I want to talk about is called the Reek. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it was a big lizard-looking monster, and he had 3 big horns on his head and giant teeth, and he was terrifying for a child. And so at the time, my son, this was about 6 years ago, he's 9 now, and he was 3 years old at the time. And so understand, I'm downstairs in my man cave, and the way my room was set up, which you have to understand before I finish the story, is when you would walk into this room, the TV was very close to the door, and it was a big screen TV. And so when you would walk into the room and look to your right, you would be about 3 feet away from the TV. And I had it set pretty low off the ground to where it was about at the same level as a 3-year-old. And so I'm watching the movie, and they're introducing the giant monsters, and they're coming in, and at this exact moment I can hear my son walking down the stairs coming to the basement. And at the exact moment that he walks into the room was the exact moment in the movie where the Reek monster walks through the door into the arena, and the first thing he does is he goes, "Roar!" like this, and he screams. That was the exact moment my son walks into the room, and he looks to his right, and he sees this monster go, "Roar!" and he gets terrified, and he turns around as quick as he can, and he runs out of the room. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, what did I just do? I just scared the crap out of my son with Star Wars. Oh, because what you have to understand is when you find out you're going to become a parent, you get excited about a lot of things. But as a Star Wars fan, one of the things you get excited about is, this is great. I get to share Star Wars with my child. When he gets to the appropriate age, I can introduce him to Star Wars. I love Star Wars. He'll love Star Wars. It's something we can love together and do together. And unfortunately, in my case, it got ruined. Now, I don't know if this is the reason why, but I have a 9-year-old son, and he absolutely hates Star Wars. And if you've watched any of my videos on my channel, you know I am a huge Star Wars fan. I'm probably one of the biggest ones in the world. And now I have a son who is the appropriate age for Star Wars, and he absolutely hates it. Watch this. Aiden, could you come here for a minute, buddy? Hey, buddy, you're on camera real quick. I want to ask you a couple questions for YouTube. Say hi to YouTube. What do you say we go downstairs right now on the big screen and watch a Star Wars movie?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. What do you think about Star Wars? Do you like it?
No.
There you have it, folks. All right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. There you have it, everyone. So if you want to share Star Wars with your child, you do have to put a little bit of thought and planning into how you're going to introduce your child to Star Wars. There's an appropriate age, and each parent needs to decide that for himself. I would say 5 or 6, and the only reason I say that is because every toy says for ages 4 and up on it. So I'm just making an educated guess on that. But you do have to put a little bit of thought and planning on how you're going to do this, or you could end up with results like that where you are a huge Star Wars fan and your children hate it. So don't let what happened to me happen to you. Any of you expecting parents or soon-to-be parents or new parents, think about this before you introduce your child to Star Wars, because you can terrify them with it. Now, is this the reason he hates Star Wars? I don't really know, but I'm sure it didn't help any that at the age of 3, I think I scarred him for life by scaring the living crap out of him he was terrified by the Reek, because the other thing you have to understand is when he walked into the room, the head of the Reek on the screen was about this big, and he's 3 years old, so he's only about this tall, so the monster to him looked bigger than him. So, but I just want to share what my experience with expecting and new parents, so you can plan ahead and don't have your child hate Star Wars. Alright, thanks for watching everyone. Bye, I appreciate it.